Hello and welcome back to United Brothers. Robert has another fixed wing jet here.
Of course.
This is the A-10 from Horizon Hobby, isn't it?
Yeah, this is actually version 1 from, I think it was summer of 16.
Okay.
Was when these came out.
Yeah.
This one actually has a little bit of a long story with me. I was going to review this when it was brand new.
Yeah.
First off, when I flew this thing, I did actually take it out of the box, went out for my own flight with it. It flew really well.
Yeah.
You want something funny though? I was at full speed, I took a hard left turn, and the nose right here actually snapped off from
really?
the wing back.
Okay. So you actually got a new body to replace that one.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
Well, then that's not the end of it. Then this body right here, actually, that's on it right now,
Yeah.
I put this on. I flew it around again. I made the softest landing in the grass. It actually cracked the nose down the center here. So that was kind of frustrating, and I was like, why is this airplane so fragile?
Yeah.
I mean, that was the biggest killer for these, was just how fragile they were. If I recall, I think Horizon Hobby is actually, with the new versions of it, have fixed these problems.
Definitely.
So this video is kind of for those who have this old version, maybe you want to repair it, maybe put the new version of the fuselage on it or something,
Yeah, yeah.
or if you end up buying one of the original ones, yeah, you'll know what to do. The first thing I did to modify this airplane, so this airplane is not stock by any means. This airplane does have one large carbon spar. I actually took a razor blade and cut it down the center here and added that. I also did add a carbon spar across the fuselage just to add a little bit of extra strength right where the battery compartment is. Okay. And I'll tell you right now, just holding it, it feels stronger. Because, before, if I barely do this, you could feel the body flexing and moving around a little bit.
Yeah.
This thing is ducted fan. It runs off the same 2-cell 7.4 pack, if I'm correct. And I think what I was flying was 800s with this thing.
800 milliamp.
Yeah, 800 milliamp.
With the JSD connector.
And yeah, I mean, it honestly, I'm excited to try this thing out.
Yeah.
So I've already flown it a couple times. How it flew before I had the problems was awesome. I want to see if it's also noticeable in the air, if this rigidity has added any characteristics to it.
Yeah. Well, let's see if it
Let's
does.
give it a shot. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and throw up the A-10 right now.
Yep.
Like I said, mine's been modified slightly, but we'll see how it does.
Let's do it.
All right.
There you go. Awesome. That's good.
Alrighty, so first off, the airplane does, when you first launch it, of course, hand launching it, definitely be a little bit back on the elevator and then just be ready to kind of roll a little bit because it does want to kind of pull to one side, kind of.
Okay.
But nothing big. I mean, a lot of airplanes do. First off, I'm flying 1/3 throttle and it's doing excellent.
Looks like it tracks pretty well.
It does actually. It's very stable. I mean, I was not expecting something like this to be this stable. I did have a micro F-16 about 3 years ago, which was kind of a big one when it came out. I can tell you right now, this thing with 2 of these motors is not nearly as loud.
It's actually pretty funny.
It's actually quieter than you'd think it would be.
Yeah. I mean, that's not full throttle or anything.
No,
but...
no, not at all. This is 1/3 right now. I'm gonna go ahead and do some low passes. You want to see a couple of those?
Yeah, let's do it.
I definitely want to keep the speed up with this thing, though.
You mind the children?
Yep. Always children. I'll get a little bit lower here in a second. The thing looks amazing, though.
It looks super scale.
It does. Do a bit lower here. And honestly, it does hold this slower flight really well for a ducted fan, I'd say.
It's pretty good, actually.
Because, I've flown a few ducted fans. You guys remember the Stinger 64? That thing had a really bad tip stall characteristic to it. I don't really quite see that in this, but let's go up and try a stall. What do you think?
Yeah.
Let's see how stall does. So go ahead and come right towards us again. All right, are you ready, sir?
Do it.
All right, and pull all the way back. Very, very respectable.
Okay.
It does a very slight, like you saw there, I can go ahead and kind of control the roll to it a little bit, but it's very, very, very forgiving. I'm actually really impressed. You think a ducted fan like this would not be very forgiving, and we'll do a nice little roll out here.
There you go.
Can handle some tricks though. I mean, I'm still 1/3 throttle. I'm not really pushing it out. You want me to do a full speed pass by us?
Yeah, sure.
Let me get a little lower. We'll try that out.
See how fast you can go.
Definitely. All right, you ready, my friend?
Yep. There's the bird mating call.
Uh-huh. Climbing? Definitely does not have infinite climb.
Okay.
That was a stall there.
Which actually looked very controllable.
It's really stable. Like, I'm actually really impressed how stable it is. Definitely does not have infinite climb. Definitely doesn't have the power of the Aero Commander that we just reviewed not too long ago.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you can still have a lot of fun with it, though. Let me get a little bit, a few more lower passes here. I kind of want them to kind of get the good visual of this thing.
Sure.
You can definitely feel the AS3X doing its job pretty well. Doesn't need to do it a whole lot though. This thing is really stable. Just like the real A-10, this thing can fly a lot slower than most of the ducted fans will.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right now I'm going about 1/3 still. I mean, most ducted fans, I'd be about half throttle if I was doing this. Yeah, I mean, it does really, really well. One of the biggest problems with this thing when it first came out, this is actually the first version of this airplane, these were extremely fragile. That was the #1 killer for it at first when it came out, was because the fuselage was extremely fragile.
Yeah, that's why you put your carbon spar in there, right?
Exactly. So what happened with me was when I first got this airplane, my first body that I had on it, I was actually just flying around like this. I decided to go full power and I took a hard left turn and it actually ripped the nose off from just that turn in flight, which is something you wouldn't expect an airplane to fall apart from flying.
Definitely not.
So then I replaced the body. I thought, okay, maybe that one was just not made very well. Replaced the body and I did like the softest landing I possibly could in the grass, and it actually broke that body too slightly. So I glued the body. Then I added a carbon spar in to kind of add some rigidity to it. And I'll tell you right now, you can definitely feel it's a little bit more solid.
Yeah. Does it feel more nose heavy at all from that?
No,
or?
not at all.
Not at all?
It feels actually a lot more balanced. Because I remember when I first got it out of the box, it definitely had a tendency to kind of drop the tail a little bit.
Okay.
And to kind of fly at a little bit of a higher angle. But yeah, I mean, I love it, man. It's really cool. And as you can see here, I mean, I've been flying around, just cruising around for a while. This thing can actually handle good flight time.
Good.
Let's go ahead and try inverted. What do you think?
Yeah, let's try it.
Let's see how the inverted does. I think I'm high enough.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll go ahead and roll. It does really well,
Oh,
actually.
wow. It actually holds it. Do you have to give it up at all to do that?
Not really, actually.
Not really?
Just barely.
Okay.
I was just having fun there. It does it really well. I did already try knife edging with this thing. It does not do it.
Okay.
Which you wouldn't really expect a lot of ducted fans to.
No. Or a jet.
No, exactly. Dude, this thing is awesome. I honestly, like, I did hear that the new versions of this airplane actually did fix the fragile problems with it.
Good.
Which I definitely want to, I think I want to get a new version of this thing on the channel. What do you think?
Definitely, yeah.
You know, we tried the version 1 out. We've seen how fragile they are. We definitely think it was kind of a downside to it. But how it flies, I mean, I'll tell you right now, they have a winner with how it flies. It's just, it needed to be strengthened. I hope the new version has really fixed that for a lot of the RC community out there.
Definitely.
Well, I think it's time to bring her in.
Yeah, let's do it.
You know, I've been up here for quite a while, and I don't want to push the battery too much.
About 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and bring her in for a nice soft landing here.
Okay.
If I can get it to come down. This thing will glide forever. Okay, I need to do another pass here.
Actually, it looks like it actually holds its speed pretty well.
It does really well, yeah. I mean,
Doesn't slow down that
I'm
fast.
only with like 1/10 throttle right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and go over this way, and I'll come right towards us.
Okay.
Let it drop a little bit here. Yeah, it will hold itself for quite a while. That's why I was having to go for another pass there. Bit of throttle. It doesn't even need the throttle.
There you go.
Perfect, man. I honestly think this airplane fly is absolutely excellent. Like I said, let's go ahead and see if it actually damaged it at all with those new spars I added in there. And the spars did their job.
Good deal.
So I would definitely suggest, if you guys have the version 1 of this from 2016, I think it was when it came out. All I did was I took a razor blade and I went straight down the center here. You can just get some of these carbon spars at your local hobby shop. Just literally put it directly down the center, and just to add a little bit of extra rigidity, I actually added this one right here. As you'll see right here, just add a little bit of extra to it. And it did really well. Let's go ahead and give this thing a score. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Alrighty guys, so I got to fly my A-10 again, and I gotta say, this was probably the best modification I could have made.
Yeah, definitely. It seemed like it held up a lot better.
Yeah, I landed it just like I did the second time when the body cracked on me.
Yeah.
It handled beautifully. And then this is honestly probably one of the best flying ducted fans I've ever flown. It honestly has a lot of good characteristics to it. It doesn't tip stall like you'd expect it to. And stall characteristics, it was great. I honestly just pulled the throttle all the way back and I held it back, and the thing just came down at a very, very controllable angle.
Yep. So would you say it needs a little bit of throttle to land?
Just a tad, but the weird thing about it is you need it when you're coming in for your approach, but when you're about a foot or two off the ground, the airplane does not want to come down, so I'd go ahead and just cut throttle about 2 feet off the ground,
Gotcha.
pull it back, and the thing will just ride itself in very, very well.
Yeah, okay.
You know, so The one thing about them that really disappoints me is the fact that honestly this is probably one of the best airplanes I've flown when it comes to, like I said, in terms of a ducted fan.
Yeah.
It was just really sad that the first versions were so fragile. And that's what this one is, and I'm glad that I can finally get to enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know, because I've had it for a long time.
Been over almost a year now. Huh?
2 years actually.
Yeah, 2 years. Okay.
Almost 2 years. It's crazy how quick
Yeah.
time goes by on this channel.
Yeah.
I honestly myself would say if you guys are going to get one of these, I did hear the version 2s are stronger, but you never know. I honestly, if you really feel like that would be a good modification anyway, just to have it, I would say you can go wrong.
Definitely. So what would you give this plane?
You know, let's go ahead and exclude the fragile part of it.
Okay.
If it was perfect and was not fragile, this airplane would get a solid 10. I think because of some of the issues that it has, and I'm not sure if the new one has it or not either.
Yeah.
I think this airplane deserves a very solid 9.
Okay.
And honestly, that's only because of how fragile it is. When it comes to flight characteristics, it does spectacular. I honestly think this is a jet for very, very early intermediate pilots.
Okay.
This thing is very, very stable, plenty of power. And honestly,
probably first ducted fan.
oh, easily.
Definitely.
This I honestly do think if you, let's say you get like one of the smaller 4-channel propeller planes,
Yeah.
this would be a very, very easy step up from that. If you can fly one of those, the only difference with this is, like I said, jets don't fly quite the same. But this thing actually flies more like a propeller plane than you'd expect it to, just because of how the wing shape is.
That's pretty cool.
So, like I said, this has actually been an awesome model. I'm excited to get this thing out. I honestly do think sometime we do need to try the new version on the channel. What do you think?
Definitely, that'll be sweet.
Get the second one out there. Let's see how it does.
Yeah.
Anyway, though, guys, hey, my name's Robert.
I'm David.
This is United Brothers, and we'll see you guys again next time.
See ya.
Oh. that was the best takeoff I've ever seen. Just veer hard right. The wind is picking up a little bit though. Definitely.
Alright. We're up to speed here.
Yeah, no kidding.
It takes a little bit for this thing to get up to speed.
Yeah, no, I mean what you can see. I mean, it's got a brush motor. It's probably not the most powerful thing ever.
Now we're guessing the wind here.
Yeah. It looks incredibly stable though.
It's really good, yeah. Especially without having aileron.
I think we have people responding to us flying right now, Damon.
Yeah, we're breaking the law.
All those sirens.